Well, here I am grinding in the mainsail, preparing for my first ever jibe of the spinnaker. It's going to be an outside jibe. After centering the mainsail, I'm now easing the sheet, and I'm looking that the clew will get beyond the Genoa and the forestay. On an outside jibe, the clew goes in front of the boat. On an inside jibe, the clew goes between the spinnaker and the forestay. I started trimming the new sheet early, which ended up creating a bit of a fold in the sail. The reason I went early is a lot of sheet that needs to be pulled in, close to 60 feet, or 20 meters. Okay, what is this mess? The first third of the spinnaker has jibed correctly and changed sides. The second third of the spinnaker is blown around the back of the first third, while the final third is sitting as a sandwich between the first and second third. Good news is, as I pull the sheet, the mess comes undone. Now, the entire port side of the spinnaker is correctly oriented. If I came out of the jibe closer to the wind or hotter, I think the sail would have oriented itself correctly much quicker. So next time I have to use what they call hotter jibing angles. Eventually, I ease the sheet because it was very over-trimmed, I heat up the boat, and the sail starts pulling the boat forward. Maybe it would have been better to have done the inside jibe, but I'm learning, and I'll work on perfecting both techniques next season.
So that was an outside jibe, solo. Didn't know that was gonna work, but did. And you know that getting the chute down is not something you can do easily if the breeze pipes up. So what I typically do is I sort of cut a deal with myself. You know, at 15 knots right now is sort of my deal for getting the chute down. I know I can take it down easily, and in that, if it loads up, you know, it's something that I'm not strong enough to control. But that's true of all spinnakers. You really just want to have your technique great. So head downwind big time, get the tack off as much as possible.
Planing is when the boat mounts its own bow wave. Does this wake indicate the boat is marginally planing?
Five, 88, 89, 91.
Upwind, I tend to hold the tiller with 3 or 4 fingers, but downwind, I like 2 hands, just because the boat's motion is a little bit more rolly, and I get to have a more stable platform to steer the boat.
Just noticed I violated my wind speed maximum. Well, the chute might have to come down. Oh yay, it's below 15.
It's also important for me to practice relaxing. I flipped the autopilot on and just enjoyed the sunny day. It's pretty clear if I measure the numbers, the autopilot's the better driver.
This is our heading. That's the way we're going. Our waypoint bearing is 311. So if we were a motorboat, we would just drive 311. We can't. We can only drive 340. I've got the boat as deep down to wind as possible, which is, I'm asking for 152 degrees to the true wind. We're going this way. We're going to ram into the land. But since we're going downwind, we can jibe. And the angle we jibe depends on the sail we put up and the wind speed. But a worst case scenario is to assume that you're jibing through 90 degrees. I think we'll be closer to
60.
But this is what 90 looks like. As we keep going this way, the bearing to the waypoint will diverge more and more from heading. When the heading minus your jibing angle, so that's
60
degrees, equals this number, you jibe and you are on the new jibe headed straight to your waypoint bearings.
We only have a small smidge before the RAS after this leg, and we'll do it under general.
So we're starting to get the current from the RAS. I'm doing 7.4 for real, if I truly trust my speed to the water, and 8.3 or so on the Speedo, on the SOG. So the current is starting to affect us. There's a full knot right now.
I mean, it's nice. Just pegged at 8.5, boy.
To get close to the Raz, have some space downwind of myself, head downwind, do the kite takedown, plenty of space in case something goes wrong, and then do the Raz under Genoa. The boat that I was, quote, racing, I can kind of barely see on the horizon behind us. Yes, a bit of a globe. The checklist I do before taking the chute down. So first thing is you want the main to do as much blocking of the sail as possible of the spinnaker. And so good to ease the main out a couple extra inches. Another good thing to do is make sure that the sheet, I just ease it another foot or two so it's less powered.
Spinnaker tack, and I ease that. Once that's eased, the sail starts to get very unstable, which is good for taking down, but you need to kind of boogie. The sock line, which is a white line that's sort of bouncing around the middle of the boat by the foredeck, and you got to get it unhooked from the grab rail that's up front and start pulling down.
The spinnaker snuffer on my last boat had a much wider fiberglass ring. I think I might look at getting a bigger ring for this boat as well, since the fabric is getting bunched up and preventing it from entering the sock. Downside is big rings are tough to stow. Once the spinnaker has been fully snuffed, or I like to call sausage mode, it becomes rather docile and all you need to do is drop the halyard and stuff it in the bag. Another off-season upgrade to the snuffer might be improving the block. There's a block located at the top of the snuffer that the snuffer line passes through. With the spinnaker safely stowed and the Genoa rolled out, we're on the final leg to get to the anchorage. And boy, the boat is powered up. I'm looking for advice on how to better manage my stack pack. Do people tighten the lines while sailing? But then, isn't that a real pain before dropping the main to have to go forward? You can see a bit of concern in my face as I glance at the wind speed numbers. After a long day on the water, I've decided to throw a reef in the Genoa. Here, I'm prepping the reefing line on the windward winch. I've come off the wind to reduce the apparent wind on the boat. Now I'm easing the Genoa sheet, which will allow me to begin furling. Now it's back to port side to tighten up the sheet to get proper sail trim. I love the Carvered 3-speed winch when I'm beating hard on the wind, as it gives me that extra power. However, I'm still getting used to it and find myself in 3rd speed when I should be in 2nd. See if you can find the crossing vessel. Yep, this big boat was just hiding out underneath the jib. Gotta always keep your wits about you.
So I got a little caught out guard. Came around the point and we got one of those classic Caribbean katabatic winds. Breeze went from like 12 or 13, got all the way up to maybe 19. Had to get the boat a bit under control. 17 knots of breeze, beating hard, staysail reefed, full main. 2.25 miles from the anchorage. When you come into a marina or a harbor or a bay and it's blowing, what is now 17, you're just wondering, how is that going to work? Is it actually going to be a place I can anchor? Well, let's go see. I'm hoping the rule of anchorages always works, in which the wind will drop significantly. 13.5. That's better than 17. I'll take that any day of the week. Just sailing along.
Going forward to prepare for anchoring. I have to get the bow fender installed, the anchor locker open, the bridle found.
I'm super exhausted now, but the anchor is down and look at the bay I'm in. Pretty special, I would say. Now, the reason why this bay is pretty much empty is because I'm anchored in 15 meters. There's a little spot that's shallower, but the local kind of like motorboats have taken that and installed mooring balls. And I've dropped about 45 meters of chain. The weather is forecasted to be less than 10 knots, and it's trying to come over that hill. I did back down on it at 1500 RPM. And it's a classic Brittany anchorage. What I mean by that is the wind direction and the direction you're pointing do not need to be the same. you should not assume you'll be head to wind. There's always current coming along and adding to the fun. It's a really remote place. There's a path that then leads up to a park. And so I guess that remoteness has attracted the derelicts, but they have arrived by foot and car, so I'm assuming they're going to be leaving soon. I am going to continue to put the boat to bed.
The objective this week is to sail around the tip of France, specifically Finistère, or end of the earth. We've made it halfway. Tomorrow we get to visit an aber.